Hello, welcome to our channel XAXs Corps. I'm Aditya, the founder and creative director of XAXs Corps, and this is probably the first video in our channel. And in this one, I will talk about how we managed to get 10,000 subscribers to a YouTube channel of our client, and the strategy, the tricks, and the paths that you can also follow to get 10,000 subscribers within 3 months in your channel for your brand. So let's begin with the video. Okay, so let us begin by the things you need. Now there are 7 parts of the video, 7 parts of the strategy you need to follow to get to reach 10,000 subscribers, the goal you have for 3 months. The 7 things are: you need branding, you need a proper social media setup for your YouTube and some other channels. You need to be able to use the basic advantages that you get through the YouTube Studio. You should use YouTube posts. Yep, that's the thing now. You can post image and text content in YouTube just like you can post videos. Now we'll get into details about each step. And number 5, other social media besides YouTube. Number 6, sponsored posts to make it faster. And number 7, consistency. So let's begin with number 1, branding. Now branding is very important because the branding is how you connect with the right audience for your brand. The right audience for one brand may not be the right audience for another brand. You need to understand the audience you are looking for, the customer you're trying to achieve, trying to acquire, and have branding that suits that purpose. The branding has 4 main parts. It has more elements, but these 4 are the absolute necessities. You need to have a logo, you need to have a brand palette, you need to have a typography set, which are some fixed color palette for your brand and some fixed types, and a brand identity system. A brand identity system is a little broad idea which varies from your brand to brand, and it's not an absolute necessity about what you include in that, but you need to have it. Let's start with the logo. A logo needs to be you need to have a logo that works as an identification for your brand to distinguish it from your competitors and attract your audience. It must be professional. It has to be scalable so that you can use in multiple ways in multiple places, and it needs to connect with your audience. As I mentioned earlier, it's important to understand what audience, what customer you are trying to acquire, and your branding and logo should reflect that. Let's give you an example. This is the client I was talking about. The client we managed to get 10,000 subscribers within 3 months for. Now they are ArorA Builders. As you can see, the logo before, it's pretty generic, and it's not a real estate brand that you would trust by looking at the logo. But if you see the one we have done, it looks more trustworthy, and that's what matters. You need to be something that your audience can feel like they can trust. And let me give you a little more example. This is the logo. As I said, the before one is a bit generic, and you can clearly see that they have used stock elements. That's a big no-no for logo. You can definitely use stock elements for average creatives, but please don't use stock elements directly on the logo. At least modify it, and that too if you don't have a proper budget for a proper logo that is done completely from scratch. But even if you do use stock elements because you are out of budget, make sure you don't use them as it is. Modify them and adjust. And plus, it's also disproportionate. That's an important thing. Please don't do that. And they didn't have any vector format. A logo needs to have a vector format for its scalability. this is the short exploration we did for the logo. You need, as I mentioned, a logo, the primary purpose of a logo is to have a identification system for your brand, but it's good to connect with the audience and something that relates to the brand, to your brand. For example, they are a construction company, so we related, so did something that speaks about construction, like the logo has a home hidden in it, a key, and a note. These three are combined together to represent a real estate brand. If it was a brand of something else, suppose a food brand or something, then the logo would relate to that. It's not an absolute necessity, but doing something like that helps with the brand. As you can see the difference, and you need to have some variations of the logo so that it goes with different background, different uses, different aesthetics. It's not an absolute necessity, but it's really useful and you should consider doing that. Now let's move on to part 2 of branding, which is typography. Typography basically comes from the term typefaces, which are more commonly known as fonts. Also, fonts are typefaces and not the exact same thing, but let's not get into that. This is about subscribers, not design terminology. Now, typography, you need to have a consistent set of typefaces and font style across all the creatives and other elements related to your brand. You need to have consistent typefaces and consistent font styles. Now, typefaces are the typefaces I mean. For example, let me give you an example. The typeface you see, as you can see in the deck, we have been using the same typefaces. The typeface is the type family. In this case, this is Sierra extra condensed, extra dark, extra bold. Sorry, this is Sierra semi-condensed, semi-bold, and this is also Sierra semi-condensed, semi-bold. Now the Sierra, the name of the typeface, is the typeface, and the styles like extra condensed, extra bold, semi-condensed, semi-bold, semi-condensed, semi-bold, and the sizes are the font styles. Now you have to be consistent because this slowly people start to associate this with your brand. As you can see, till now everything feels like it's part of the same thing because it has a consistent branding, the same sizes, the same typefaces, and the same style. That's the power of typography from a branding perspective. A brand identity system. A brand identity system is a coherent set of brand elements such as posts, stationery, packaging, etc. that identifies your brand in the right way to the right audience or the right customer. This is something you should consider doing, but this can be a little expensive, more expensive than your logo and all. And when you're just starting out, you might not be able to afford it, or you might not want to spend on this when you have some other priorities like your business system. In that case, you can skip it for the starting, but do consider getting it done, or you can do it yourself, learning a little, hiring a design team, or you can do it from some outside agency, like you can hire people like us, me, etc. But just consider doing it. It's not an absolute necessity when it comes to YouTube, but as an overall brand, it's very important. Now let's move on to social media setup. The social media setup must be consistent with your branding so that people can recognize your brand even if you remove the logo from the post. It has to be consistent across all channels, like your setup in Facebook should not be a complete different thing from what you look like on Instagram or YouTube. That will hurt the thing you're going to achieve, and the thing you're trying to achieve is people recognizing your brand in wherever they see it. Hence, it has to have recognizable style, and it needs to be consistent in topics, because if you don't talk about the same things, your audience will stop caring about you. You cannot have everybody. You're most probably not a comedy channel, you're a brand. So for brands, it's important to stay consistent in terms of topics, so that people know that you are the one they should come to about some certain topics your brand is related to. As you can see, the style of posts, the setup of the posts are similar across all the 3 platforms, and that's important so that people recognize you. If someone follows you on Instagram and suddenly sees your post on Facebook, they need to recognize you instantly so that they follow you there as well. Now there's one thing I need to say, that you need to have more than one social media channel, and that has some perks and some necessities as well, and we'll get to that later. Right now let's move on to YouTube Studio. Now YouTube Studio offers a lot of features, and if you're just starting out and you don't know any editing software, then you can do some very basic editing on YouTube Studio itself. But once you grow a little more proficient at what you do, it's better to use proper tools like the Creative Suite, the Adobe Creative Suite. For example, I edit videos on Adobe After Effects, and there are multiple options for that, so it's better to move on to them. But there are 3 things on YouTube Studio that is unique to that, and you should take full advantage of it. They are end screen, playlists, and cards. We'll get into what they are right now. End screens are pretty useful when it comes, because they act as call to actions. They can prompt your viewers to subscribe. They can prompt them to visit another site. Maybe you have a website of your brand and you want to bring some traffic to that for some campaign or some product. You can do that in the end screen of your video, and to add the end screen you need to use YouTube Studio. You can also prompt them to watch another video or playlist, and you will find the use of end screen at the end of this video itself as a live view. Playlist categorizes your content, reduces the effort of the viewer. If you're wondering how they reduce the effort of a viewer, they reduce the friction in a way. Suppose you make you made a few videos on one particular topic. If you arrange them in a single playlist, now when the viewer finds one video, they can go through the entire series with the help of the playlist without finding the next video. That reduces friction and hence prompts the user to watch more videos than they would otherwise. Prompt the users to watch more videos. It also makes your channel very organized and more attractive. For example, let me give you the example of my personal channel, which I started recently. As you can see, I have categorized the videos in multiple playlists that cater to some audience. Like if you like short films, then you can watch them in a single playlist. If you like cinematic video essays, you can watch all I have in a single playlist. If you watch travel videos, you can watch all my travel videos in a single playlist, and more. Also, if there were no playlists, then the channel would just end here. Like you would scroll a little, there would be uploads, and that would be it. Now people have more space to scroll, hence they have more chance of watching more video than they came to watch. Moving on, as you can see, it really has a positive impact on viewers. You can see that this is from the YouTube channel, the analytics of the YouTube channel of ArorA Builders, the client I was talking about, and you can see 45% watched the playlist 3 BHK while 25% watched the playlist 2 BHK. While only 10% just clicked on all uploads from the channel, and that's the kind of positive impact playlist can bring to your channel. Cards. Now cards are pretty useful for product placement, bringing traffic to some web page, website, outward links, and it's also good for interlinking video. Suppose you have a video and you refer to something that you explained on another video. You can simply link that video inside this video using a card. For example, you'll find one here. They hang around in this part when something comes out. I'll add one right here so that you get a live example. And then what it does is, when instead of pausing the video, finding that video or something else that explains what they're watching, they can simply click here and stay within your channel. Now before we move on to the fourth step, which is the YouTube post, let me show you how to use the playlist, how to put playlist, the cards and the end screen using the YouTube Studio. Now moving on to YouTube post. Now you need to use YouTube post. There's one catch though. You won't be able to use YouTube post just when you open an YouTube account. You need to cross 1000 subscribers and 4000 watch hour to get access to this feature. And you also need to join the YouTube Partners program, whether you monetize your channel or not. But you need to join the program, and then you can just switch off the monetization if you don't want to put ads on your videos, because if all you want to do with your channel is to drive traffic to your product, etc., so then adding ads will add a little friction for your audience, although it can act as a passive way of generating income to your channel. Depends on what you want to do. Now YouTube posts are very useful because they give you extra real estate. People watch, when people scroll through YouTube, they don't just watch you through your videos, they also see you on the posts, and hence the more they watch you, your presence, the more attached to you they get, and there is less competition because not everyone who's making videos are making YouTube posts. So if you're competing with 10 people on the video ground, you're competing with 5 people on the post ground. So lesser the competition, the more chances of success, and why not take advantage of that. Also, you can directly promote your business's product in the post. Like, you may say that you can do that through the video as well. Yes, you can do that through your video as well, but it's more simpler with the post. You launch product, you can just use a photo of the product and post a link to the product on post. Pretty easy. Audience interaction. The post also has some other ways of interacting beyond the options you get for a video, like you can create polls, you can ask for feedback in better ways than you can do with YouTube, and you should take advantage of that. Video promotion. You can also use some frames of the video and use it to promote the video itself. What you can also do is you can directly share your video in your own channel as a post. That increases the chance of people clicking on the video than just watching the thumbnail in the home screen, because they will if you share your video on the post, then there are chances of people watching the same thumbnail twice. So watching the same option to watch a video twice increases the chance of people actually watching it. Other social media. Even if your primary focus is the YouTube channel, you need to have other social media platform. You need to be active on other social media platforms besides YouTube, at least one other than YouTube. This has 4 benefits. Like, it adds to your online voice. It further increases scope of you promoting your brand or product or service, and it's a backup to YouTube. Like, in worst case scenario, you somehow lose your YouTube channel, you still have an audience on the other social media to cater to, and you can use it then to gain back your YouTube channel by restarting it or something like that. It's a backup. You lose, even if you lose YouTube, you don't lose your entire audience that way. And depending on what social media you're using other than YouTube, you may get features that are not available in YouTube. And sticking entirely to YouTube would mean that you're losing out on the features that's not provided by YouTube. So why not take advantage of that? For example, in case of ArorA, we also have account on Facebook and Instagram. Now you might see that they don't have much followers on these platforms, which is fine, because in this case our primary focus is the YouTube channel. So you don't have to actively promote your other channels. Some of your YouTube your subscribers will themselves move on to the other channels, and vice versa. The vice versa is what your focus is. Sponsored posts. Now this is optional, but if you are a brand and you goal of being on YouTube is promoting a brand or product, then chances are you're already spending money to get stuff done on YouTube. So in that case, it's a good way. Sponsoring posts on other social media platforms or YouTube itself is a good way of fast tracking the growth. It does 3 main things. It drives more viewers than organic. Obviously, if you posting a video on YouTube gets you 5 views, you promoting the post will give you more views than that. That's the whole point of sponsoring posts. It also prompts organic growth, because when you sponsor a post, more eyes get on it, and those eyes will then also have better chance of moving on to your other posts due to the algorithm. And thus, even sponsoring posts can increase the views on your videos that are not sponsored as well, hence prompting an organic growth besides the paid growth. And this is a good initial autopilot, initial push for the autopilot. Like sponsoring stuff, the goal of sponsoring a video is to give it an initial push, and the rest will come with the push. For example, this is how a sponsored Facebook post works. As you can see, what we do is it's a great strategy. It's using a tiny trimmed out clip of the entire video in YouTube and then promoting it on Facebook, because Facebook has it has a good audience recognition system. So it's really great, and our ads have worked great on Facebook. That's primarily where we sponsored our posts for ArorA. It depends a little on what your brand is and what kind of audience you're targeting. So for some, LinkedIn might be a better platform than Facebook. For some, Instagram might be a better platform, etc. Just know your audience and know what platform works better for them. And as this is the metric, as you can see, 28% of the viewers that came to watch the videos came from Facebook, which is where the sponsored posts were. And that's the power of sponsoring posts. You don't have to spend a very high amount on that, but do have minimum budget, because spending a few hundred rupees is just wasting money. You need to spend at least 1,000 something like that to get a result that's measurable. In case of ArorA, we had a monthly ad budget of 5K, and that worked wonders. Number 7, consistency. This is very important because it teaches the YouTube algorithm to send traffic to your videos in regular intervals, learning from the regular intervals you post videos on. It creates a bond with viewers because your viewers get habituated to videos. If you keep posting videos in regular intervals, your audience slowly come habituated to the fact that yes, this is the day he will be posting a new video, and that habit can work wonders. And of course, with consistency comes more videos than that without consistency, and more videos simply means more views, and more views means more eyes on your brand or product, and the positive domino works. With all these 7 things and the consistency on this for 3 months, you will finally get your destination of 10k subscribers. As you can see, the last day there was a huge increase of 3k subscribers. The second month was something like that. Now just one thing you need to know, it's a more like a disclaimer. The first month, use the first month for strategy, for the branding, and figuring out what you need to do and how you need to do it. Don't expect results on the first month. Use the first month to plan out and start working on the next 2 months. Start working from the first month, but expect results from second month onwards. So that's pretty much the path you need to take for your 10k subscribers. And if you're wondering what now you can follow this on your own, or hire interns, or have your own team to wait, or you can also contact us for helping you out. You can contact me in social media. I am available as XAXs in pretty much everywhere. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Same as my brand XAXs Corps. You can see the email ID and the website. The links will also be in the description below. And if you want to have watch the detailed case study of ArorA Builders that we did with them, then it's available on our Behance page, or it's also available on our website in more details. We'll add the links to the description. One more touch point, for when you're doing the thumbnails for your videos, make sure they're consistent, just like the post. As you can see, the thumbnails are consistent. They are in they were in 2 styles for ArorA, and that works in with the same goal. The posts work, brand recognition. So with that, goodbye friends. Thank you for watching our first video. Hope to see you again. Till then, do subscribe and like and share the video with people you think it will benefit. Yeah, bye now.